So I was scrolling through Twitter looking for something that I could talk about for today, and I came across this tweet. Now, not only do I fundamentally not agree with this take, I'm also going to argue that Martin Odegaard is the best Premier League captain we have right now, and how I don't think Arsenal would have been that successful without his leadership. And here's why. First, I want to talk about Declan Rice. Now, in this tweet, this guy has said that Declan Rice would be the better captain and one day he should be it. Now, in my video I did a few days ago, I did argue that Declan Rice one day should be the captain, but I have no issues with Martin Odegaard, and I think someone like Gabriel could also step up. I think on an average basis this is fine. If Odegaard isn't in the team, isn't playing, maybe he's ill or injured, then fair enough, one of these players could step up to be the captain, but Martin Odegaard deserves to be the club captain and should be for a very long time. I remember when Odegaard first got the captaincy, and I was speaking to my dad and we thought this might be a bit of a weird decision, as we thought there's probably better people in the team to have it, as Odegaard seems quite quiet and reserved and not really a loud player. That's not really what you would see with a traditional captain in the Premier League. But I think when you look at other teams as captains, you realise that necessarily isn't always the best case. I mean, I look at Bruno and Maguire, that Manchester United situation, they are definitely not good enough to be captains, even though they are great players. And Odegaard sort of has this reputation of being a nice guy, quite quiet, and he just gets his head down and does the job. And obviously I do think to an extent this is true. He seems very well spoken and very nice person. But there is so much more to him. Arteta said back in the day that his self-demand is brutal. He understands everything very well and learns quickly. We help him by giving him the responsibility and the confidence, making him captain, showing the connection that them two have and the trust that them two have with each other is definitely at that sort of level. Odegaard has also done interviews with Mikel Arteta, and you can tell how much he really looks up to him. He decides everything he wants to do, and I've heard that he's a teacher's pet by other players. This is good because he has that link between the manager and the players, because the players still obviously get along with Odegaard. His creative numbers, however player he is, you can tell he gets along with every single player. And when he can bond that balance from the manager and then to the players, you can tell that is what you want from a captain. He has also made some brutal decisions for Arsenal, which people seem to not give him any credit for. When Havertz was out of confidence, he was the one that gave the ball to Havertz to take the penalty against Bournemouth, stepping up in responsibility, and Mikel Arteta didn't tell them to do that. And the biggest thing about him is that even though he's not someone barking orders, no, you like people like Roy Keane or John Terry, he listens and sees what is happening in the game and understands when he needs to pitch in and talk to his team. Mikel has said that Martin is very reserved when he speaks, but when he does, he is heard. He does everything required and takes care of himself, and he's a brilliant role model for the team, and he is definitely leads by example. And when you've got everyone trying to be respectful and responsible and also having a big family team and everyone loving each other, then it just creates a great atmosphere within everyone in the club, and you can definitely tell that as soon as someone joins, they have a great atmosphere. And there's also been quotes from in the past where the Invincibles had about 7 or 8 leaders on the pitch, and I do think this is the same with Arsenal. Necessarily the person that holds the captain armband doesn't need to be the one shouting. Declan Rice, Gabriel, these players are still going to make their voice heard, and I don't think Odegaard pitching in as well is necessarily going to help, and I do like the reserved nature about him. It also makes everything he says a lot more sincere and a lot more realistic in a way. People sort of will believe what he says if he only speaks when he really feels like his need to, rather than speaking a lot. I think there's that trust there with the players and the manager that they understand what Odegaard wants on them and understand how to make him happy and the team happy. And there's no doubt about it, Martin Odegaard is one of the most influential players in this Arsenal team. The reason why they can play how they can is because of him. He's done so much different to his game. When he first came in, he looked like he struggled in front of goal and had a lot of creativity about him, but didn't have that necessary end product. But in the last year, when he scored 15 goals last season, he definitely proved that. And despite having a poor start to this season, he's been brilliant again recently. He's creating over 5 to 6 chances a game and having 4 to 5 shots. And his ability to go and help Rice in that double pivot or change different role and be a bit more attacking and help Havertz has definitely become vital for Arsenal this season. I think Martin Odegaard is one of the best players in the Premier League, even though people might not give him credit. And in his position, he sees everything that goes on, so he can definitely talk to the team at half-time, talk to them at full-time, and say to them what he saw, because in the middle of the pitch, he is the most creative person out there. His vision is crazy. The biggest thing about Martin Odegaard, though, is if you ever go to an Arsenal game and watch them and get lucky enough to go to the games, you definitely get to see his leadership qualities in person. They're much more evident in the flesh than they will be online in these content and these random videos you're going to see of people shouting at other players. It's because he has that fantastic connection with the crowd, and someone just coming in, maybe like Declan Rice, maybe not necessarily has that straight away. And even if he does develop it over time, Martin Odegaard knows when to tell the team and tell the fans, and more importantly, especially at the Emirates, when to be loud or when to push the team on. This is one of the most important things as a captain, because he needs to get that connection right so the fans love him and he loves the fans. It's sort of that good feeling. It also means when Arsenal are starting to get a bit tired and you're not really thinking straight and you're thinking, how are we going to get in this? He lifts the team with his confidence and his boosting and his energetic he can get from the crowd. And a lot of people deserve credit for this, but I think one of the big reasons why Arsenal was so good at lifting the team is because of him. When Arsenal conceded against Bournemouth and Southampton last year, you heard all the crowd cheer the team, and you never saw that before. But it's because Martin Odegaard demands this of the fans and the players. If Arsenal miss a really big chance, he is there telling everyone we need to press, we need to keep our heads in the game, it's not over. And having that good confidence booster is so important. And because he is such a teacher's pet, or he is so tactically disciplined, he does help the players around him. He's also not even that old, and the fact he has this experience at this level is crazy. He helps Martinelli and Jesus and these players keep in positions all game and make sure that everyone is playing to the system that they need to. And if any switches need to happen, he'll be the first one that tells them. He's also very good at being that awareness to Mikel Arteta. And Odegaard has done so much. I mean, he was the captain for Norway at such a young age even before he was for Arsenal, so he's clearly very good. I know you can say, well, their players aren't necessarily as good and he might be one of the best ones, but there's definitely still options in that team. They've got some experienced defenders. And I like Martin Odegaard a lot, and I was very critical of him at the start of the season because I don't think he was playing up to the level I know he can, and he's been much better the recent weeks, and I think with the new changing system it's actually kind of helped him a lot more, despite him kind of playing deeper. He's proven you don't need to be a loud, kicking people captain. You can just be reserved, quiet, and still lead people in different ways. Leadership doesn't always just mean being the most vocal on the pitch or being the loudest. It's the people that watch things happen and let people know can also be a leader at times. And looking at some of the tweets, they're saying that Declan Rice is more of a natural leader and he's more vocal, but this is not what Arsenal need. Every team needs different leaders. That's why even though the title does say the best captain, there is people that are allowed in the league who are very good captains for your team. It just sort of depends on how you want to play. But for Arsenal right now, having someone who's tactically adept, tactically thinks a lot, and everyone respects so much, being our leader for the whole rebuild really, he's been one of our best players, and everything goes through him, Martin Odegaard, I think it's the best option. And just because of a physical stature doesn't mean any difference to being a leader on the pitch. I think people need to realise this in the game. Who cares if people aren't fearing Odegaard in a duel? They'll fear him when he scores wonder goals against them every single week and he leads Arsenal to glory. Of course, Arsenal's rebuild has had so many good players, but I'm super proud of Martin Odegaard. He came out of nowhere really, like he scored one goal on his loan and people still wanted us to sign Maddison. People were angry when he signed, and he's arguably one of Arsenal's most important players, and without him I don't think any of this would have been possible, as you've seen by other attacking midfielders that we've played who just haven't been up to that level. And to me, Martin Odegaard is the closest person to Mikel Arteta you're going to get on that pitch. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this. Am I wrong? Do you think that Rice is a natural leader, or do you think someone else is? I still think Gabriel is a good shout, but to me Martin Odegaard is the best option for the team, and I think if we're going to achieve anything recently it might be because he's our leader. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Arsenal are a brilliant team, we have brilliant players, and it doesn't really matter who our captain is. It is important to have that connection between the fans, the players and the manager, of course, and that is very important in the side. Because we've created such a family vibe with the team, I'm not sure it's too important for the individual captain himself is what I mean, not the whole team. But I still think you'll struggle to find many captains better than him in the league right now, and even better players, to be honest. If you like this video, please go and watch the video where I recommend Amadou Onana for Arsenal and talk about why he'd fit into the team and why he'd be perfect. And if you want to talk to me on Twitter, please follow my Twitter in the description. That's it. Thank you for watching.